Hello everyone, I am Aydoğan Vatandaş, the editor-in-chief of Politurco.com. Today I have a very special, a young high school student who has just authored a novel. Welcome to my show, Firdevs.
Hello, thank you for inviting me, Mr. Aydoğan.
It's a pleasure, Firdevs. So Firdevs, can you please tell us how the idea to write about a novel came to your mind?
Okay.
Because you are a high school student, you are so young, you are 17, I guess, right?
Yes.
When are you graduating? Next year?
I'll be graduating this year in
This year.
2024.
Okay. So tell us about yourself and, tell us about your novel. How did this idea come to your mind?
Okay. So I started writing this book 2 years ago in the beginning of my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote this book because I always wished for a chance to help our Hizmet community and be a part of a change. Back in the 90s, my dad moved to Kazakhstan, where he met my mom. Growing up, I went to Kazakh Turkish schools, Hizmet-owned Kazakh Turkish schools, and learned more about the Turkish culture and language. My purpose behind writing this book was to have an impact on the Hizmet community, which helped me with education. From around 2013 to 2014, we started hearing and witnessing how the Turkish government had been striving to close down Hizmet-owned Turkish schools around the world. Although I was young, I began to understand this from the conversations of my parents and my teachers, despite their attempts not to make us feel it. As we approached 2016, due to the pressures of the Turkish government, we sadly had to bid farewell to many of my Turkish teachers, sending them off to free and democratic countries. That year, I also received a green card, and our family migrated to the United States. Many close relatives, acquaintances, and neighbors were forced to migrate to Greece through the Meritsa River under very difficult conditions. I had to grow up amidst these painful stories at such a young age. During my preparation for college, the idea of writing a book emerged with the recommendation of my Turkish counselor, Robert. I am generally someone who loves to read, and since I had to come up with a passion project, I decided to write a book about a topic that I'm affected by. At one point, I had volunteered to teach English to the children of migrant families through FirstBix, an international educational organization. I believe that more needed to be done, that this tragedy needed to be shared with more people. So I decided to take a small step towards creating awareness and spreading the word about this ongoing and highly relevant tragedy.
So what is this tragedy? So can you please tell us about that? So you are focusing on a tragedy that the Hizmet people are encountering for years, I guess. So what's happening? What's going on? What is this tragedy about?
So back in 2016, innocent people were sent to jail just because they were affiliated with the Hizmet community, Hizmet movement, which supports education and
global peace.
Yeah, global peace.
Interfaith dialogue.
Yes. At first, when I was a child, I couldn't really understand why these people were sent to jail. But as I started doing more research, I found out that it was mainly because the Turkish government didn't appreciate their efforts and they labeled them as terrorists because they simply didn't like their ideas. As a child, I was deeply heartbroken because I saw my relatives go to jail. And I knew how nice my relatives were, and I thought they would never do that. So at such a young age, I started feeling hatred towards the Turkish government. And that kind of drew me to write a book because I wanted to raise awareness and help not only my relatives and my close friends, but also the people who were affected by the coup attempt.
Okay. So is that why your parents migrated to the United States?
Yeah, that is the main reason.
That was the main reason.
We wanted to feel safe in a country that respects us.
Mm-hmm. So as far as I understand, you are also inspired by the genocides that the Jewish people encountered during the Second World War. So that's why I guess you took that particular incident as a base for your novel. Can you please tell us about that? I think you were inspired by Susak, right?
Yes. My main inspiration was the book Thief, which is a book by Markus Zusak. So the book Thief is about fictional characters who are living in Nazi Germany. So I kind of got the idea of writing about fictional characters from there. My book is about fictional characters, but the event is real. It's about the July 15th coup attempt.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil your novel. So let's, our people try to buy the book and read it. So I'm not going to spoil it. But would you like to tell us about the main characters of the novel?
Sure. So the book is about a fictional family that is affected by the July 15th coup attempt. The father of the family, Tarık, is a police officer who has attended the sermons of Fethullah Gülen Hoca Efendi. After hearing the news, the family tries to hide in their parents' house. But as things get more serious and dangerous, they get help from their friends and make a deal with the smugglers to cross the Mersey River. My book covers their struggles in adapting and surviving. I have also added real stories in some parts of the book based on my interviews. Although the main characters are fictional, some supporting characters are based on real survivors. So I have interviewed the survivors and added some of their stories at the end of the book to underline how intense the whole event was.
Excellent. So these are your main characters. If I would ask you, the authors, the novelists that inspired you, that had impact on you, I mean, which authors would come to your mind?
I would say Victor Hugo, Dostoevsky, or Edgar Allan Poe from American literature.
American literature, yeah. Great. Yeah, these are really important names in literature. And what do you want to do afterwards? So this is your first novel. You are so young. So would you like to go on as a professional writer in the future? Or it was just, one-time, excitement?
I don't think it was a one-time excitement because I believe that as I read my book, I believe that I could improve my writing more. And I feel like now that I published my first book, I keep wanting to write more. So I believe that in the future, I might come up with a more improved book or a story.
Yeah, you can write about many other things. There's a lot of things going on in the world to write about, right? Yes. And maybe also you can try to write as a script. You can write screenplays, and it's not necessary to just focus on one thing because you are so young. Maybe you can discover many other things in the future. So what are you going to study?
So about that question, I'm still undecided because 2 years ago I was thinking of doing computer science, but as things got more serious with my writing and as my love for writing grew, I decided to think more about it. Yeah.
So maybe you can study American literature.
Yes. I'm also thinking about that. I have a lot of ideas.
All right. So where do you study right now? Which high school are you at?
I'm studying at Magnolia Science Academy, Santa Ana.
Okay. So it's in California, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think you have very good universities there. Or you can come to New York or, some other states. Firdevs, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I would like to add my last message.
Please.
So in this book, I try to explain how terrible it is for human rights to be violated, for the rule of law to be undermined, and how it negatively affects people's lives. Mm-hmm. I also mentioned how politics manipulates people. With this work, I wanted to be a small part of the fight for freedom. And I believe that it doesn't matter whose rights are being violated, and that we as humans still should defend them and stand up for them.
Mm-hmm. Firdevs, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sure that your parents are proud of you, right?
Thank you.
Okay. Have a wonderful day, Firdevs.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Aydoğan.
No problem. Bye-bye.